Welcome to another edition of Dream Firm Spotlight. My name is Tyler S. Clark, co-founder of Dream Firms, where we create generational wealth and impact for entrepreneurial accountants by systemizing how they attract, win, and retain the business of their dream clients. And what I'm here to discuss with you today is the 5 reasons accountants raise their prices every year. Now, there's a good chance that you are wondering why your accountant is raising their price yet again, and I am here to explain it to you. There's a good chance that you are an entrepreneurial accountant and you're wondering, is it okay for me to raise my price again this year? And I am here to tell you it is 100% okay. And here are going to be the reasons why that is the true. First reason, simple economics, okay? Crazy thing about accountants is they are actually very, very gifted in this thing called money. They know a lot about money. And so a simple stat that your accountant knows incredibly well is the difference in purchasing power from one year to the next. Maybe you're familiar with this thing called inflation, but your accountant really knows the power of inflation because they are studying they're studying the flow of money between people, right, and the government. And when there's more money in supply, they're well aware of that. So for instance, just from today, right? Today, 2022 to last year, if you had $1 last year, it is worth $1.10 today. In other words, your dollar right now is only worth 90 cents. Your purchasing power is worth 90 cents compared to what it could buy back then. So just from the simple basics of how much money has been pumped into the economy, not here to discuss the why that is good or bad, but just from that simple fact, you got to be expecting at least a 10% bump because they know that their service didn't get less valuable from last year to this year. Their service became more valuable from last year till now. And so they're not willing to lose money or profitability simply because of the monetary decisions of the federal government. And that brings me to point number 2, which is accountants are required to improve every single year. Yes, in other professions, it is optional whether or not they improve. Accountants are literally required to get better every single year. CPAs and other credentialed professionals are required to have CPE credits where they're fine-honing their expertise, sometimes as much as 40 hours per year, improving their overall knowledge and skill set inside of their field. Now, here's another reason why they have to continue to get better every single year. Have you ever read the entire Harry Potter series by any chance? So, a lot of books, right? A lot of pages. Now, the reason I say that is that the Harry Potter series is over 1 million words long, over 1 million words long, okay? Now, that is approximately the same amount of words in the US tax code. Now, imagine you need to know each and every single line in Harry Potter in detail. And if you didn't know that line, it would hurt your livelihood and your ability to help your clients. Think about that. And then again, Harry Potter's done, it's finished. The tax code is not done. If you look at a graph for like how much it's gained in complexity, it's literally like, it just goes like straight up. It gets more complex every single year. And that is just the code. That's not even necessarily the guidance for understanding the code. So there is a massive amount of complexity that goes into that. And then you stack that on top of the massive responsibilities of all the other things they have to deal with, right? Which is learning how to be a better leader, hiring and training team, being a better entrepreneur, learning all the skills to be a successful entrepreneur, implementing software, being able to learn and use those softwares. And there's this other thing called like having a life too, which is pretty important. So again, they've got a lot of things going on, but really this brings me to my next point, which is the third reason is the profession is shrinking. Okay, let's face it. Accounting is not a very sexy career choice for young people. And there's a lot of reasons why I think accounting should be perceived as more beneficial. But besides the point, there are many people who would have normally went into accounting, but have been allured into finance, tech, even being a lawyer, because these career paths, they share similar character traits to accounting professionals. And so you need those to be successful over there, and they're a little bit more glamorous. They're attracting more people to them. And as a result, the accounting market is really devoid of new talent right now. So these young people, they have a wealth of information available to pick their careers. And when you take a look at what's being said about accounting, shout out to r/accounting on Reddit, like, oh my goodness, no wonder why people are not only not coming into it, they're leaving the profession in droves. At the most recent Synergy conference by Thomson Reuters, arguably the most important conference for upper echelon accounting firms, it was reported that nearly 70% of current CPAs will retire in the next 15 years. In other words, there's a huge exodus of talent from the profession, and then they are not able to refill the ranks to match this exodus. The main point here is that the supply of quality, and the emphasis here is quality professionals with bona fide experience, not people who just decided to start an accounting firm because a Facebook ad said that they could. The numbers are dwindling, and there is no end in sight to this trend, which brings me to point number 4. Demand for accounting services has exploded since the pandemic. Not only was there an absolutely massive tax law change prior to the pandemic with the 2018 Trump tax reform bill, there was even more complexity with new emergency legislation due to the pandemic, from PPC to ERC and a whole lot more, that accountants had an insane amount of work dropped into their laps and had to adopt to this on the fly, many of which charge nothing at all to be able to access these emergency services because they really believed in the concept of we're in this together. Not everyone believed that, but they were on the forefront of people who really needed to help spearhead these changes to save more small business. And again, what's interesting about this is not only was there a huge increase in demand for existing clients who needed help navigating all these new issues, there was a huge boom in new businesses following the pandemic. And quite frankly, you're not really a true business owner until you have an accounting firm in your corner. Just quick shout out to anyone who's like thinks they're savvy and doesn't have an accountant. Like, I guarantee you're not really a business owner until you have an accounting firm in your corner. So anyway, there was a huge boom, like absolutely gigantic. Normally it's about 300,000 new businesses are started per year, applications. And then following the pandemic, it was close to 550. It dropped a tiny bit, and then it's back at 500. So the point is there's way more entrepreneurs than there were pre-pandemic than there are post-pandemic, right? There's way more of them now. So demand is higher. And so the final part about point 4 here is, yes, while the pandemic was hard on many businesses, right? I think a lot of people go, oh, well, yeah, Tyler, that makes sense. But there were a lot of businesses that went out of business as well. Not necessarily true. The loss of small businesses wasn't nearly as bad as originally anticipated, according to Reuters. Perhaps 600,000 businesses, most of them small firms, fail in any given year. And U.S. central bank researchers estimated that from March 2020 through February of this year, 2021, this figure has been perhaps a quarter to a third higher. So it really wasn't a massive spike. Yeah, 25%, trust me, that's bad. That's terrible, but it wasn't this huge destruction. And the reason it wasn't as destructive is because the accountants were supporting people when they needed it and were able to provide critical access to those emergency funds. So before we get to point 5 and the final point, I just want to combine the logics of point 3 and point 4, right? There is significantly more demand for services. And there is significantly less supply of people who are capable of rendering the services due to how complex it is, point 2 really, to be able to render services effectively. Okay, now, I don't remember a whole lot from my introduction to econ. It was a night class, it was 3 hours long, so you would have my attention for like 20 minutes. But I do remember, at least I think I remember, that when supply is lower, and demand is higher, something happens to price. But, I can't really seem to remember. Supply lower, demand higher. Maybe prices go up when that happens. I think that's what happens. expenses. Anyhow, let's get to the final and most important reason accountants raise their prices every year. And I do mean that this is definitively the most important reason. Let's go ahead and exclude all the information that was already provided. Let's go ahead and say, Tyler, you're making up all this stuff that I could easily go and validate on Google by myself as true. Let's go ahead and say that I'm just making this stuff up. Let's assume the profession isn't shrinking at a dramatic rate. The complexity of the tax code isn't increasing literally like every month. Inflation doesn't exist. The pandemic never happened. And demand for accounting services didn't explode. Let's just throw that all out for the window for a second. Investing more dollars into accounting is one of the smartest things you can do. So the fifth and final point is accounting is an investment. It is not a cost. Investing more dollars with your accounting firm is one of the smartest things an entrepreneur can do. And more accountants are realizing this because they're done undervaluing what they've done for their clients and seeing huge windfalls come to them through their services. Now, there's an old quote that I'd like to tie this together with, which is those who pay attention. A lot of information is freely available. Very few people do anything with it. But there's a follow-up to this quote, okay? Those who pay more attention. And the follow-up from that quote is when you pay attention, you are literally paying in the form of time. And when you pay for something as precious, when you pay for something with as precious as time, you got to expect a meaningful result for that non-renewable resource. Okay. And so this is really what it comes down to. You should be paying more attention to your cash flow because if that cash isn't moving, it's literally losing value every day per the point one, which is inflation. You should be paying more attention to your tax situation because that's the only thing, literally the only thing in the world that you can put your hard-earned money into that will never, ever have a chance of giving you a return. And again, that's taxes. You should be paying more attention to industry trends and having a sounding board for your most important financial decisions and the impacts those decisions have on your future because they have a ripple effect. Make the wrong decision now, set yourself back a couple months, couple years potentially, make the right financial decisions now, and you set yourself up for the future. You should be paying more attention to your financial expert who's been advising you your prices have to go up or you will be out of business. So when that price increase comes, that should actually be like, wait a minute. If my accountant is raising prices and they know a lot about finance and money in general and how the government works, perhaps they're trying to signal something to me, right? And you should be paying more attention to your own financial data because if you didn't hear it yet, data is more valuable than oil. Let that sit in your brain for a little bit. Data is more valuable than oil, and your accountant is the best financial data scientist you have on your team by far. I could literally go on for hours like this about how much value is hidden inside of an accounting relationship. But the truth is that if your price is only incrementally increasing and you're not actually increasing how much you're paying to get a higher level of service, you, my friend, are missing out on a huge opportunity. And you should want to change that as soon as possible. Now, so again, not only are there hard economic factors that are driving up prices for accountants and really for everybody, and there's a meta trend that's developing and accelerating as well. Okay. And this is that meta trend. The best are charging for their expertise and the results that expertise provides. They are not charging for their time any longer. Expertise takes time to develop and dramatically shortens how quickly someone can get access to a result that would normally take countless of hours to replicate on their own. It is officially irrelevant that they can provide tax savings solutions to you in 15 minutes or a massive breakthrough in your understanding of how to approach your business in 15 minutes or 15 seconds. It doesn't make a difference anymore because you could be saving $15,000 a year in taxes. You could be making a smarter decision with investing $15,000 into the right growth strategy simply because you recognize that there is a premium attached to expertise and time and an hourly billing model only rewards monotony. It does not reward speed and expertise. And that's what you need on your side. And that's what your accountants are constantly fighting to be able to bring into their firm and, more importantly, deliver back to you. So accountants are done. They're done being victims of the hourly model that penalizes innovation and expertise. And if that bothers you in the slightest, well, I hope you start paying attention to what they bring to the table, because it far outweighs the cost of their services. And the truth is I don't know where else you're going to be able to get this type of help moving forward in the future if you're unwilling to agree to a price increase today with the firm that you're lucky to have in your corner. So listen, I hope that this was a very beneficial way for you to understand why accountants have to raise their prices every year. And as just a very quick high-level summary for those that joined us a little late. Number one, simple economics. Accountants know a lot about money in and of itself, and they know that there is more money in supply. Inflation alone says that their prices have to go up by 10% because their services are more valuable today than they were a year ago. Point number two, the reason those services are more valuable is because they are required to invest in their expertise, to stay on top of an ever-expanding tax code, and they are constantly looking to be better entrepreneurs each and every single day, and those have hard costs, and they can relay the results of those back to you and your firm. Three, the profession is shrinking. There are way less people coming in, and there is a mass exit of talent, not only at the upper echelons of the people who've been in the profession for years, the quote-unquote boomers. They are leaving. 70% will be gone of CPAs in the next 15 years. And there's nothing that suggests that we are going to replenish those ranks. Point number four is demand exploded for accounting services, both during the pandemic and after the pandemic, from new legislation that they were required to implement to help save their clients. And then also the enormous boost of how many new entrepreneurs came into the market, and every entrepreneur needs a good accountant. And the fifth and final point is that, of course, that accounting is an investment. It is not a cost. And when you increase your investment in something, you can expect a higher rate of return. And accountants are now embracing the right way to go about pricing their services, which are based on the results that they provide. And if they're asking you to increase how much they are paying, I can all but guarantee to you that you are in store for something that will truly revolutionize your business. That's all I've got for you today. My name is Tyler S. Clark. Thank you so much for investing your most precious resource with me. Enjoy those price increases because they will pay you dividends for a long time to come. And remember that only you can create your dream firm, but we help you every single step of the way. Have a fantastic rest of your workday, everyone. And I hopefully will see you inside of the Dream Firms Network in the not so distant future.